Nigeria to decide in the next 5 days who their president, governors, they have actually told send their good morning and welcome.
Fine, how about you?
I'm great, thank
How's
you.
the weekend?
It was fabulous contributions to you. Let's quickly run through the papers and we'll be starting with the leadership newspaper.
On the leadership paper, 6 gunmen, 1 policeman killed in Anambra clash. PSC appoints Najitu Mohammed and others election coordinators. We have fast check. Did a member of NET say Atiku has no credential to be northern candidate? And then we have a trend. INEC to meet security agencies amid protests in states. Rehabilitation of Apapa, Tin Can, other ports to cost $800 million. This is coming from the NPA. And if you want to read a breakdown of that report, you can turn to page 7. We have no preferred candidate coming from the ACF and NEF, and you can read why they're saying that on page 7. And the big story on leadership, Naira swap policy, APC governors adamant, asks President Muhammadu Buhari, AGF, CBN to obey Supreme Court. The writer says meet with Tinubu Adamu at party's national secretariat. PMB in a video vows to end current hardship. Kaduna government places security on high alert. 3 killed over rejection of old Naira notes in Akwa Ibom. Still on the leadership, Atiku Obi upbeat express confidence of victory. Don't disappoint Nigerians, editors charge INEC and security agencies. We did not raid Tinubu's residence. This is coming from EFCC, and you can read more of that details on page 6. And we have a picture story where we can see the president watering a plant at the planting ceremony at Addis Ababa, and that's all the news on leadership.
On the Dailies newspaper, PDP knocks Tinubu, claims he doesn't represent hope. The writer following that story, Atiku will wipe out tears of the Southeast. This is coming from the campaign, which you can find on page 27. El-Rufai direct MDAs not to reject all Naira notes. And the big story on Daily Sun, which is still on the polls, tension grips INEC over insecurity. And we have the writer that says spate of violent protests raises fear among officials. Commission working with the CBN and others to address cash challenge. This is coming from the INEC chairman, Yakubu. And on presidency in Yam, Chimamadi endorsed Obi, and we have a Labour Party candidate flays death of protesters in Edo, Delta, Oyo, orders over Naira scarcity. Don't vote anointed presidential governorship candidates. This is coming from the ACF, says power shift undemocratic. Some government policies had Buhari admits appeals for patience. This is in relation to the Naira scarcity. PSC appoints zonal state coordinators to monitor police conduct, which you can find on page 4. UK court accepts to sheet star weakness Awani as Ekweremadu's trial resumes. You can find that story too on page 4. Guide of editors urges INEC security agency orders not to disappoint Nigerians, asks journalists to be professional in reporting the polls. And on Naira swap, APC governors tackle Buhari, asks the president and the AGF to obey Supreme Court order. And I'd like to read a little detail of that story. In a last-ditch effort to resolve the lingering cash crisis that has thrown the entire country into turmoil, governors elected on the platform of the All Progressive Congress on Sunday met with the party leadership at the APC National Secretariat in Abuja. This was as the chief executive officers of the bank also met to provide solutions to the solution, which had led to attack on banks and the death of no fewer than 30 persons across the country. The development is coming barely 6 days before the presidential and the National Assembly polls slated for Saturday and February 25, 2023. No fewer than 12 governors turn up for the crucial meeting with the APC National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and other National Working Committee members, which started at 2:37 p.m. At the meeting were Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna, Abdullahi Sude of Nasarawa, Mohammed Inwa Yahaya of Gombe, Maimala Buni of Yobe, Abubakar of Jigawa, Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger, Yahaya Bello of Kogi, Simon Lalong of Plateau State, Biodin Oyibaji of Ekiti, Sani Bello of Niger, Atiku Bangudu of KB, and we have Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos and members of the National Working Committee of the party in attendance. Governor Abdullahi Ganduji of Kanu and Dabo Abiodun of Ogun were absent, while Imo and Katsina state governors were represented by their deputies. The party's presidential candidate, Ashwaju Bola Tinubu, later joined the meeting at 4:45 p.m. And this is, more you have to read of that story. So you can check more of that story inside the Daily Sun on page 6. We have a picture story where we can see some of the bishops, at the outing at the Dailies yesterday. So you can grab the Daily Sun newspaper and read any story that's of interest to you.
On Nigerian Tribune, the big story, Naira swap policy. APC NWC governors ask Malami to prevail on CBN. The writer says want it to comply with Supreme Court order. 10 governors, 2 deputies in closed-door meeting with APC national chairman. El-Rufai directs ministry agencies to accept payment of old and new currencies. You can read the details of this story on page 27 and page 12. At the left side of the paper, Nigerian banks unprepared for cashless economy. This is coming from NESG. Still on elections, don't disappoint Nigerians. NGE urges INEC, security agencies, and others. NIPC moves to improve national attractiveness. FDI engages diplomatic community. Election Tech Group faults Osun Tribunal judgment validates Viva's reliability, and you can read that on page 28. Article to Nigerians, voting Tinubu is moving from frying pan to fire. The writer says join forces to save Nigeria. Atiku Okowa campaign committee tells electorate. In video message, Buhari urges more patience on Nigeria, on Naira redesign, canvasses vote for Tinubu, and you can read that on page 12. And then we have a picture story where we can see where the APC and UWC at the closed door meeting, and that's all the news on Nigerian Tribune.
On New Telegraph newspaper, contention crisis looms in port as federal government moves to upturn own parks, which you can read on the front page and also on page 3. Glitch on main one data center triggers national downtimes, which also you can find on page 8. OPS to Buhari asks the CBN to allow banks handle old notes deposits. You can read more on page 5 and 25. SCCI urges CBN to increase FX supply to tame inflation. And on the polls, PSC to sanction officers involved in misconduct, says 360 staff will monitor the personnel, which you can find on page 8. Saturday's poll chance for Nigerians to effect positive change coming from Labour Party. And the big story on New Telegraph, APC crisis, cash crunch, Tinubu, PGF, National Working Committee, minus 7 governors meet, asks the CBN and the AGF to obey Supreme Court order on currency swap, call for president's intervention on banknotes palaver, and we have Buhari promises to end hardship, settle out of court with governors. Umahi urges Buhari as syrup sues the president. You can find on page 4, 5, and 8. And Kuka is saying why Nigerian president always fail. You can find more of that on page 5. Terrorists have invaded our domains, undo monarchs cry out. Police arrest 2 plaintiffs in courtroom over killing of village head. And we have Soludo orders review of extrajudicial killing at Police Zone 13, RRS Akwazu. So you can read that also on page 3. South Africa to relax visa processing policy for Nigerians. You can find why they are doing that on page 27. And still on the polls, don't bow to pressure. Kegama tells INEC and judiciary, disregard for court order eroding citizens' confidence in the justice system. This is coming from lawyers. Reject candidates with questionable character, zero competence, coming from the AGF and the Catholic bishop. Tax the voters. You can read more of that story on page 2, 4, 14, 16, and 31. And on presidential poll, Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, Kwankwaso, 14 others battle ready. Afenifere Youth Group endorses Obi, promises to deliver 5 million votes in the Southwest. And then we have love shown by Nigerians energize our campaigns, coming from Peter Obi. We are confident of victory, coming from Atiku. And we have APC PCC blames opposition for fake news about Tinubu. You can read more of that story inside. We have a study on the paper that said regular sleep schedule may reduce heart disease risks. So you have to read more of that story too on page 8. We have a picture story where we can see the Labour Party candidate together with other stakeholders over there with Obaseki, the governor of Edo State. So you can read more of that story on New Telegraph, and that's all on the New Telegraph newspaper.
On Nigerian News Direct, NUPRC attributes 40% of crude loss to inaccurate measurement and theft. I'll work harder to deliver more goodies of democracy in my second term, coming from a big conference hotel. And the big story on Nigerian News Direct, still on Naira scarcity, APC governors meet party chairman, demand respect of Supreme Court order. The writer says direct call to Emefiele Malami, Tinubu storms meeting venue, policy causing tremendous difficulties to Nigeria national economy. This is coming from Adamu, and you can find the details on page 3. Alleged 400 billion naira new note hoarding, no raid at Tinubu's private residence, coming from the EFCC. Protest day 7, over 120 anti-corruption CSOs give IGP 7-day ultimatum to arrest and jail EFCC boss. And that's all the news on Nigerian News Direct.
You know, Rachel, I would like us to talk a little on this. NUPRC attribute 40% of crook loss to inaccurate measurement and theft.
Yes.
This story, I think, took a better half of last year.
Did.
When we were talking about oil theft, the reason why we were unable to meet our upper quota,
Yeah.
and then the reason why we've been having this for over 9 years or so. And then we even saw documentaries, you know, where some journalists and, you know, the likes analysts have gone down to even those riverine areas where we could see some leakages showing signs that yes, there was actually an oil theft.
Yes.
And we were concerned because we felt, how can you say a vessel that's big as maybe that would take oil worth over 5 million liters
Yeah.
or even 500 liters could leave the shores of Nigeria unnoticed, and nobody said anything about it. And right now we're seeing NUC is attributing 40% of crook loss to inaccurate measurement. Now that will show incompetence on our part, or
Of course it
incompetence on
does.
the part of the NUPRC to say that we're unable to even know how much we're making. That is, this have shown a sign that we don't even know how much we make daily. This is what I can actually, you know,
True.
rule out, that we don't even know how much,
Yes.
how many liters we make, you know, daily or even weekly or even in a year, for us to say, okay, if we are making this particular, you know, liters of fuel daily, then that means to some extent we should be able to know how much we will be able to meet.
True.
There was a time when they said we're supposed to be making over 1 million or 2 million of liters of barrels of oil daily. And if we're doing that, then we'll be able to meet up. But then I think last year we saw where we're meeting like 800 or 900, you know, liters, and then that will show that that was why we were unable to meet our own quota.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing that same 40%.
40%.
So now, right now, that will just show that somebody, as usual, is sleeping on duty, of course, and that is why you're saying that inaccurate measurement. Who is responsible? Who started with that responsibility to make sure that we have accurate measurement of our crude oil? Right now, you can't even touch a kerosene. How much is a liter of kerosene and all of that? In petrol to date, we're still having scarcity. There are still queues in some filling stations. Despite the fact that we heard that there's oil, we're still having queues. So are you going to attribute all of this to say that it's because we are having inaccurate measurements? Is that the reason? Because it's really sad where instead of us owning up to say, yes, I failed in my responsibility and I'm ready. So I just hope that we don't keep having stories like this. Somebody will keep looking for one excuse or the other why we're unable to do certain things, and we're saying it's not to oil theft, but to inaccurate measurement. I really hope that we address all of this issue, and whoever is starting with that responsibility need to be called to book, so he or she will know that we are not here for child's play. We don't want to keep hearing one excuses after the other, and these are excuses that can give birth to bigger excuses. At the end of the day, we hear that somebody somewhere is doing something, and that is why things are working out this way. So we hope we'll be able to address this issue.
The more you see the flimsy reasons coming from this body, you just realize that it's more of corruption. Because one of the reasons they gave at the beginning was that they didn't have the right technology to be able to detect these vessels that come and go. And already that says incompetent, because oil is our major economic source where we make the money. Most of our income comes from oil as a country. Why are we? I'm a business owner, and I know, for instance, this is where I make the majority of my income. Whatever technology that I will do it. Now we have been having oil for so many years, and you want to tell me that technology keeps evolving and you refuse to evolve with it, give such a flimsy excuse. Now you are trying to tell us that for decades we are not measuring our crude accurately. Then it means you are sleeping on your job, and it's sad to see that you feel confident giving supply to OPEC and the rest. And it just keeps saying, it keeps screaming corruption, it keeps screaming theft, because it's only when you are shady that you will not measure it accurately. Because just as you said, Stella, it means that we don't even know how much we make or how much we produce when it comes to this crude oil. If we are now saying that we don't even have accurate measurement, it means we're not sure how many barrels of crude oil we make. We are not sure how many liters, millions of liters we export. We don't even have a good database. That's what this information is saying. And I just hope that the NU PRC come out and do the right thing and fix all of this wrong, because the more they come out, I call it a very flimsy reason and excuse. It just says that you are not doing your job, and the more you're putting it out on the paper as an information to Nigeria, it just shows that you're sleeping on your job. Because we need to be perfect as a country if we really want to develop and grow. And we are not just discovering crude oil yesterday or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. This has been a source of livelihood for Nigeria for many years. So it means we're not supposed to be lacking whatsoever. We're supposed to be, with our technology, we're supposed to be at the highest level of protecting the crude oil. With measurement, with export, with import and everything, we are supposed to be at the highest level of accuracy. But then it's sad that we're seeing all of this. So I just hope that we stop sleeping on our job and do the right thing.
True, true, true. Well, let's take a look at the Daily Times newspaper, and the first story on 2022. Nigerians need 47,144 delays out of 80,328 domestic flight operations, with the rider Overland, Arik, Air Peace, United, Nigeria, Dana, Crookland. We have Crookables. And on Daily Times also, we have old Naira note controversy. 10 state governors ask Supreme Court to void Buhari's February 16 broadcast. You can read more of that. And we have on 2023 presidential candidates to sign new peace accord on Wednesday. INEC confirmed readiness amidst tension. I truly hope that all these presidential candidates will stick to this, all of this, because they signed the first peace accord and we saw name calling left, right, and center, to the point that if care was not taken, we even had fights between these various followers of this presidential candidate. So we hope that after signing this accord, it happens that on that same Wednesday is when we'll be having the hearing from the Supreme Court, whether we'll keep on using this old notes or not. So I truly just hope that with all of these signatures, it will not just be, signatures at the end of the day, but we really know what we're signing, that we promise to keep our own side of the bargain as presidential candidates, to be peaceful, because election is not just about let's just go and vote. But then how peaceful would it be at the end of the day? Because how peaceful an election is, it's even much more important than the result at the end of the day. So I just hope that all these presidential candidates will truly stick to their own side of the bargain by following whatever they are signing on these papers on Wednesday. Still on Daily Times, we have election policy. PSC appoint coordinators, create platform for civil participation. You can follow that story on page 5. On Naira scarcity, CIBN bank CEOs assure depositors of continual operations, and you can find that story on page 20. We have a picture story. It's a cross-section of depositors at the CBN of Nigeria office, in Lagos on Friday. We can see the number, and we have them not just in Lagos, but in various parts of the country.
On the Abuja Inquirer, still on New Naira, FCT lawyers face frustration filing proceedings. And you can continue with that story on page 3. VIO suspends registration. NDLEA intercepts Eurobound cocaine met at Abuja, Lagos airports. Still on elections, PSC appoints coordinators to sanction police misconduct. And you can read all of that on page 15. The big story on the Abuja Inquirer, APC in crisis meeting backs governors on Naira redesign case against federal government. Fears of cash scarcity affecting INEC logistics. Buhari to Nigerians, be patient, I'll end hardship soon. And we're looking forward to that promise being fulfilled by the president. We have a picture story where we can see the Redeemed Christian Church of God Global Prayer Walk on Mercy. We can see saying, Lord, have mercy. And we are looking forward to God's mercy on us, even as we hope to have a free, fair, and peaceful election come Saturday, the 25th of February. And that's all the news on the Abuja Inquirer.
On the Voice of Liberty on 2023, Tinubu is reliable, vote for him, Buhari tells Nigerians. EFCC denies raiding Tinubu's Lagos residence, says it's a fake news. So you can read more of that story inside the paper. And on Old Naira, your loot now completely useless, Kwankwaso turns the APC governors criticizing Buhari. And still on 2023, we are ready for elections. INEC declares security agency also assures of readiness. Amid the widespread apprehension and crisis occasioned by the new Naira redesign policy, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, yesterday declared that it had concluded plans to conduct the general election beginning next Saturday, which is this Saturday. So we keep our fingers crossed and we hope all that is needed is there. Still on the Voice of Liberty, on 2023, Muslims apex body NSCIA lists 5-point agenda for incoming presidents. If you want to know what it is, grab the Voice of Liberty and read more of that. Former DPR and UPRC attribute 40% of crook losses to measurement fault, not theft. And coming from the southeast, ignore sit at home, go out to vote, traditional leaders urge residents. And the last story on the paper, which is on federal government Naira swap, we will destroy commercial banks in Kano that refuse to accept old notes, Governor Ganduje wants. And we can see some governors actually of a different point of view on that, while others are saying accept, others are saying do not accept. And this is the confusion I was talking about, Rachel, where we are having the president saying the 200 Naira notes should be in circulation, which it's already in circulation. I've seen that from Saturday.
Yes.
People are actually using that, 200 Naira note. And we're still having other governors that are saying even the 500 Naira and the 1,000 Naira should still be used. And I clearly remember last week when I stated this is where Nigerians begin to wonder who should they listen to. As a governor, you're asking me that I can still use my 500 Naira, but the commercial banks cannot collect. Here we are having even the governor of Kano saying that they will destroy banks and refusing to collect. So are we trying to say that the president does not know what he is doing, or the CBN is actually working in isolation? Because if they have been given the go-ahead by the president, because whatever Emefiele is doing is what the president has asked him to do. Yes, I know that what the president said is contrary to what the Supreme Court said. And that is why I say where there is no separation of power, this is where we see chaos and confusion coming. Because you see the executive meddling with what the judiciary is supposed to do, and then we say, legislative are doing what the other body is supposed to do. So I just hope that we sit down and cut out where does your power start and where does it end, where does my start and where does it end. When we have all of that, clearly stated, then we'll see that there will be no confusion whatsoever. But we can see that that is not stated. It's obvious from what is happening here because the governors are on one side, the president is on another side, and we're having the judiciary on another side totally. So I just hope that all of these things will be rectified. And I remember saying that I'm looking forward to where the legislature will have a sitting on all of this confusion, because they are the lawmakers at the end of the day. So if you make a law, it's expected that you see that that is followed to the latter, but we can see that it's unfortunate that is not the case here. But I just truly hope that we just come together, rectify whatever this confusion is. So we have one Nigeria, because if we don't have one Nigeria, there is no how we can have a peaceful election come Saturday. So I hope we'll be able to rectify all of this.
Like, we know that the CBN governor has been working with the president and having the go ahead of the president. And then now we have it on the paper that the president is saying he will end his hardship soon. So let's keep our fingers crossed, hoping that the president, who is having the backing, who is backing the CBN governor, that very soon this will be over, because I think they know what they're doing. For them to not listen to the Supreme Court and not hear whatever the governors are saying. But then on Friday, I made this very clear that, you know what, yes, the Supreme Court is the highest. There's no doubt. We're not going to sit down here and say the president should go ahead against the Supreme Court, or the CBN should go against the Supreme Court. But this is what is at stake, that these commercial banks are under the CBN, and they have a directive not to collect 500 and 1,000 naira notes. So if you as a governor, Ganduje, you're coming to say that you will destroy commercial banks if they don't collect these old naira notes, don't forget that you are not the CBN. And it is sad, because if the governor should say so, it gives hoodlums and touts and people to be able to cause chaos at the banks, because after all, the governor said they're not going to take this kind of thing from so in as much as I know we are frustrated, but this shouldn't come from a governor, because you are indirectly giving a go-ahead for chaos to happen in your state, because even without such coming from the mouth of the government, we've seen where banks were destroyed in the past week. Now imagine when this is coming from the governor saying such will be done to bank. So automatically you're giving a directive, like a go-ahead for chaos to be done to these banks. And let's not forget that these banks are in a situation where they have to adhere to what CBN is saying, because they are under the CBN. In the end, when they go back with their money, if the CBN doesn't collect it, they are also at a loss. And we can even see, and then the irony behind all of this story is that we are seeing that in the FCT, lawyers are facing frustration filing proceedings because of the old naira note, and we have the Supreme Court. So when you come to look at it, is that the chaos and the confusion is just, I don't want to say beyond the Supreme Court, but we know what's at stake here, that the CBN is having the say over this, as it is. And it is sad though, but then it is sad because this court knows that, you know what, they're not taking back this money to the Supreme Court. It has to go to the commercial banks. And if the commercial banks are not accepting it because the CBN will not accept it as a legal tender, then we know who has the say here, in as much as it's a sad fact to accept, but then we just have to accept it as Nigerians. And as I say, let's keep our fingers crossed. The president said the hardship will just be for a short while, that let's be patient.
We just hope that this hatch. Well, before we move further with the newspaper review, we would like to take a break at this moment so we can let you through the story. What do you feel about what the APC governors have done regards the meeting they had yesterday to actually tell the president and also the Attorney General to obey, the Supreme Court? And many other stories have been on our papers where we are seeing that 40% of the reason why our crude oil is left, right, and center permit misuse is because of inaccurate measurements. So we'd really love to hear from you what you have to say about the story. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still the dailies on Echo Television International. We've been looking at various stories that have making us 40% of our oil is as a result. Later on your screen, do well to call us. Please do remember to turn down the volume of your TV set or move totally away. And you also have just 30 seconds to actually, air your views, as other callers will be waiting to actually air their views too. You can drop your comment on Facebook and also on YouTube. And I still have Rachel Tanzi here with me. Thank you so much,
You're
Rachel.
welcome, Sarah.
All right, let's move further with the newspaper review.
On Daily Independent, Naira swap policy obeys Supreme Court order. APC, NWC governors urge Malami and Emefla. Still on 2023 elections, don't disappoint Nigerians. NGE urges INEC. Rider says ask and read coming from NUPRC. South Africa begins issuance of 10 years visa to Nigerian investors, aviation practitioners, and you can read
Rachel,
that
let's
on
take
page
this call
7.
from Ghana. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
We
Hello,
can
my
hear you.
sister.
Please write on.
I have contribution to make this early morning. You see, you people in the studio are mentioning about this it's not working. Say that to people to hear. Nigeria is not working. 2023 election is never is the solution. This is the truth. It's never the solution. Nigeria is not working. It's not working. Oil producing country. To how many years are we now? How many years? We are talking about small things. Nigeria is not working. 2023 is never the solution of Nigeria. Yes, people dying left and right every day. People killing is now like I don't know, granite everywhere. Yes, it's not working. Go and get your PC. Go and do this one. It's not if you need to do ever work. Nigeria has a spy. Which one should be that in his mind? Nigeria has a spy. Yes. So
Thank you so much
let's
for
not
your
be
contribution.
looking around the bush.
Yeah, thank you so much, caller from Ghana. It's actually very sad when we have Nigerians living in diaspora and not believing in the future of Nigeria. It's sad because our caller said Nigeria is not working, but I stand to disagree. Nigeria is working.
Yes.
Because you can't tell me that I can't get I shouldn't, my PVC won't make any difference. It will make a difference because one voice alone is a step towards the change I want to see. And if I choose to stay back at home or if I choose not to use my PVC, I am contributing to the destruction, to the corruption, and I'm giving way to even more corrupt leaders to be on seat. Because when a country perishes because good citizens refuse to do something about what is happening. So of course it looks as if things are not moving presently in the country, but I stand to disagree that Nigeria is moving. I mean, when you're talking about oil producing countries, yes, we can brag. I think the problem we're having right now is maybe few lack of good leadership, governance coming from various people that have refused to take up responsibility. But I believe that if we take up that mantle of leadership by carrying our PVC on that 25th of February, come rain, come sunshine, whether the weather is cold, we take our blankets to the PVC and make sure that we cast our vote. And we will do away with sentiment, we do away with emotions, because that won't solve anything. We can see the president telling parents to warn their kids against being used as, talks on that day. So getting angry won't change anything presently. Yes, it looks as if things are not moving, but things will move. Nigeria is working, because I always say this, I am proud of that color, green, white, green. I am proud of it, and I pledge to Nigeria, my country. It's not just a song to me. It's something that I have pledged to serve my father's land till death do us part. So I hope that we all take up that. If we really do that, you see that if everybody realize that Nigeria is not just for one person, but it's for all of us, and that we'll put our hands together and see, Rachel, what is your role? You play it. What is my role? I play it. What I can't do, I ask for your help. We'll see that things will work out. But when we just sit down and feel about, is Rachel from my side? Is Rachel my tribe? Are we the same religion and all of this? This is where the country keeps falling down. So I hope that for those who are living outside the shores of Nigeria, or even in Nigeria, that are having that same sentiment or feeling that nothing is working in the country, that something will work if we choose to do the right thing, and it's by coming out on the 25th to elect leaders. And that's not just the end. So we hope it. We have another caller. Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost that caller. So I just hope, Rachel, that we all do the right thing at the end of the day.
Of stagnant, but it doesn't mean that Nigeria is not moving forward. And it's not only about voting in the right administration, but we also need an administration that will come and fix the system, because one of the major problems we have as a country, apart from the corruption and insecurity, is that we have a systematic problem. And one of the biggest problem again we have, apart from our system, is also our mindset, where we have people sleeping on their duty.
Okay, sorry.
Because
Since we have
Because
lots
I
of
Alright.
callers
tell
from diaspora.
Nigeria
Hello,
people
we have
to
a call
think
from
twice
Sierra.
because
Good
we're not going
morning.
to vote for sake of color.
Please go on, sir. We can hear you. Hello, can you hear me? Good morning.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go on, please.
Because we need for change that country, right? Hello?
Turn down the volume of your TV set so you can actually hear us, please,
Because
sir.
some people and some politicians are the criminal.
Okay, I have to end that call. So I just hope you call us back again, because we tend to have a lot of citizens that live in diaspora ready to air their views. So
Yes,
I just hope that that call from Sierra Leone will come back again. So you are still
So yeah, one of the problems we have is our mindset also, Sele, that we need to fix it, where we have the mentality of getting your own national cake, and then you find people being in position and all they're concerned about is eating their own national cake, not being concerned that let every Nigerian be able to have that national cake. And that's why we have a lot of incompetency in our agencies, because a lot of people are there with the mindset that it's a federal government job, so I don't need to put in my 100, I don't need to
Okay,
put in
another
my
caller,
best.
sorry, from
Yeah.
Benin Republic. Good morning. Uh-oh.
Hello.
All right, hello, we can hear you, sir. Go on, please.
Yeah, good morning, my sisters. I
Morning.
really appreciate what you people are doing.
Thank you. Go on, please.
So my contribution is that all these politicians are just take us like a fool. They are just taking us like a fool. They are not even care of the masses, what they are suffering. All these people, all these ones they are lamenting about this naira change, design, all those things now, because the thing is affecting them bitterly. That is the truth. When it comes to reality, imagine like Governor of Rivers State thinking, I have my PVC, I just make the sacrifice, come from this lake to Badagry to take my PVC. But I'm discouraged with some reasons. How many people the immigration discover? Foreigners that come to vote. Then where are we going?
Thank you so much, sir, for
Yeah,
that contribution. Okay. Are you still there, sir? Okay, thank you so much for that contribution. Our caller from Benin Republic is actually talking about still on the Naira, policy, where he feel most of the people that are actually against it are people who actually have the currency somewhere trying to buy voters. And we know that that's the reason why the CBN actually redesigned the Naira note.
Yes.
But regardless of all of that, we have a policy, and that policy have come to stay. Today is already 20th. I mean,
True.
there's no going back. It's
No going
obvious.
back,
So
yeah.
it's better we embrace this Naira policy, and we hope. All right, we have another caller from Benue. Good morning. Hello, Alexander. Good morning.
Okay.
Please go
Good
on. We can
morning,
hear
ma.
you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
We
Please
thank
go on.
God. How is everything?
Great, sir.
I happy what you people are doing.
All right, go on, please,
As
Alexander.
as you can see, look at things that are happening in this country now. I'm happy what is going on now, because some of us we may enjoy it, while some are not enjoying it. But I knew that by the grace of God, it's for the benefit of tomorrow, it's for the future, and not of today. So we need to put our head together, put our mind together, and support our leaders and ourselves. Let the change begin at our home. You understand? So let's stop blaming people that this one, that one, this one, that one. Let's put our minds together, work for the benefit of our country. A country like Nigeria is a good country. I'm proud of my country. You understand? So let's put our minds together. Let's support each and everybody that wants to come out there and do what is right. Let's start putting blames on that or that. Even if somebody that is condemning that Nigeria is not going away, even if they put in there without the support, how would they see? Can a tree make a forest? No.
Thank you so much, Alexander. I
So
feel like actually applauding you, but maybe
no.
I'll
So
do
let's
that and
come
send it to you.
together,
Thank you.
reason
All
together
right.
as one country, and
Okay.
do what is.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexander. Alexander said it's high time we stop pushing blames and realize that we are part of the growth we want to see in Nigeria, because a tree does not make a forest. So when you plant and I plant and we keep planting, that is how we make a forest. So we just hope that we, just like the mindset you were talking about,
Exactly.
we need to change our
We
mindset
do.
and realize that we have something to do. You have a quota to contribute. It's not all about saying the president is not doing well. If you're placed in that place where you do the right thing, that is
That's the
what
question.
Alexander
True.
is saying, and I truly appreciate Alexander for that comment. Please let's go on, Rachel.
Still on the Daily Independent, we have still on Naira redesign. Serap sues Buhari over ban on old 500 Naira notes and 1,000 Naira notes, and you can read all of that on page 6. Police kill 6 gunmen who attempted to burn station. You can read the details of that story on page 4.
All right, Rachel, we have a
all
caller.
right.
Hello, Samuel. Good
I have
morning.
contribution to make. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Samuel. Please go on.
Hello?
Please turn down the volume of your TV set. We can hear you.
Okay,
Go
please,
on.
my contribution is about this
All right.
APC governors, these people that they are now against the policy, the no naira swaps. If you look at this very well, they have this money somewhere. This money, they have it somewhere. Where were these governors, if I may ask, when they were a kind of massacre in this country, or a massacre, the killing, the protesters who were killed at Lekki, where we are there? They didn't say anything. But because they have interest, selfish interest, that's why they are against the Naira redesign, because they want to buy votes. But it's very bad to them. It's late, because the policy has come to stand. So what they will do is just to embrace it. They should embrace it and stop causing confusion. Again, the Labour Party candidate, presidential candidate, Peter Obi said that we are marching to freedom. Nigeria should come and show their anger to the destruction, to the suffering we are seeing today. Should be voted out. Should be voted out. That's what we are asking. Let's come out and show that we are angry with this very administration. That's what we should do. Not laying blames. We shouldn't lay blames. So come and contribute to our part. It is just Saturday. Then we decide our fate. Thanks and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for that contribution. Samuel is just saying the same thing. If you're angry, go put that anger on the 25th of February by voting out bad governance. Please, let's go on, Rachel.
A few more stories on the Daily Independent. El Rufai asks MDAs to accept payments in old and new Naira notes. At the downside of the paper, training of 381 AVSEC cadets is to fight terrorism. This is coming from Sirica. You can read that on page 6. And that's all the news on Daily Independent.
On the Punch newspaper, Buhari, Jonathan and others became president unprepared, coming from Kuka. You can read more of that on page 22. All right, Alexander is back on the line.
Okay.
Go on, please, Alexander. We can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's something that I want to, at least for you people to voice it out, that is happening in Benue State. Let them please allow us that we're in Benue State to make our choice. Let them not from anywhere make choice for us, because enough is enough. Let's make choice on our own. With youth, let us make choice on our own. Please and please, let them not involve their hands. We youth are going out there to vote with one mind. Let them just only provide security for us. We will make our own choice.
Thank you, Alexander, for
So
that. Alexander is actually drawing our attention that in Benue, they are being forced to do what they will actually have the opportunity to exercise their franchise. You will not be under duress to do anything you do not want to do, but all you need to do, get your PVC, queue up on that day, and exercise your franchise. Let's continue with the Punch newspaper. Stock investors lost 281 billion naira in 1 week, which you can find on page 25. INEC to get poll allocation from CBN on Tuesday, which you can find on page 18. We have another caller. Good morning. Hello, are you there? Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello,
Hello,
please.
good morning.
Morning, sir.
It's very, very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate that we see ourselves in this condition for a whole governor of a state to come out to tell bankers that if they refuse to collect the old note, that it will close down or it will destroy the banks. I want to ask, what kind of a message is he sending to the youth, to that state? We're into election now, maybe 1 week to election now, or let's say 6 days to election. A whole governor is saying this kind of a thing. Did he want election to hold in that state, or did he want to cause havoc in that state? It's very, very unfortunate that a whole governor can come out and make this kind of a statement. What is he sending to the youth of that? This is what this guy, the governor of Kaduna State, said.
Verify.
What kind of a message is this? Are we having two this thing inside one country? Buhari will come out and say his own. Governors will come out and say his own. Which one are we going to follow as a citizen? They are just confusing us. We don't know what to do again. Tomorrow, governors will come out and say to their people this way. President will come out and say, we don't know where to follow again. If all this money that all these governors had to buy election, in this election, if it's not working out for them, so this the governor of this place, please let them allow us to do this election peacefully, and let us come out to make the choice of our own, instead of them to be causing this havoc to the state. Look at what is happening in Lagos, Ibadan, and other states. Please let them allow the people to make the choice of their own. Please, we are begging them. All their family, none of them is in this country. They have taken their beloved ones out of the country, and they want us to be killed. They want us to be. They will be using us in this country. Please, we are begging them. Let them allow us to do this election peacefully, and we are begging the INEC. Let there be free, fair, and election. I'm also begging the uniform people.
Thank you so much, that caller, for your
provide security
contribution.
for the masses.
Thank you so much, sir. We truly appreciate. I know you have a lot to say, but we are working on the clock and we are almost out of time. But he actually aired his view. Let's be allowed to actually exercise our choice of who we want to be, and also on the Naira policy. The CEOs in last minute rushed to clear Naira mess. 12 governors, APC chairman wants Emefiele Malami to obey Supreme Court order. Naira crisis has brought so much pain at the Mulamen Ganduji Abiodun. Vote for leader with capacity and character coming from Oyedipo. Ogun woman set self-ablaze on page 18. That they actually address the issue of fuel, and you can read more of that story on page 24, and that's all on the Punch newspaper, and also how far we can go on the program this morning. And all those who call us on leadership is about the next generation. Think about this as you go to exercise your franchise. Do have a blessed day ahead.